Author and journalist Afshin Rattansi joins us from London to give us his reaction, I should say, to this award. Afshin, what was your reaction when you heard about this? Because it's been varied based on the spectrum of reactions so far.
After time, the Nobel Peace Prize Committee never fails to beggar belief. I mean, to award the European Union spending 194 billion euros, I think at last count, on defense spending. The Peace Prize is supposed to be, theoretically, about fraternity of nations and reducing armies or abolishing standing armies. Well, the EU has not been doing that. It's been increasing steadily their expenditure on defense. Some decreases now because their own people are suffering so much.
And looking at the history here, we can go back to 2009 with Barack Obama, Commander-in-Chief of the U.S. Army in Afghanistan and Iraq, being awarded the prize. And of course, looking at many of the EU members who are parts of NATO, for example, they've been involved in the wars in Afghanistan and Libya, and not to mention France, Germany, and Britain were amongst the largest arms exporters. Many are, again, questioning why it is that, first of all, the bloc, with member countries involved in these various activities, have been awarded this.
I mean, in defense of the Nobel Prize Committee, you've got to remember that the European Union, the countries of the European, have been responsible for the worst calamities in human history. Obviously, World War I, World War II. So they perhaps haven't killed quite so many people as European civilization, as it were, has been responsible for in the past. But as you say, there's no doubt about it that these NATO countries, a lot of them NATO countries, are responsible for death and destruction through economic means as they try and destroy elements of the developing world and continue to do so, let alone the environmental disasters that they bring to developing world nations. But their armies, their covert operations, their support of hegemonic imperial power continues to this day. And so the Nobel Peace Prize Committee are making yet another terrible mistake in the long line that they did, of course, most famously with Henry Kissinger, who got the prize after how many millions? Was it 6 million who were killed in Indochina, Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, and so on back in the 60s and 70s.
And finally, and quickly, if you can answer this, one of the people, I should say, entities running to give thanks was Israel. Israel said the EU deserved this award. And of course, EU has the stamp on the quartet. And we all know what that quartet was meant for in terms of the Israel-Palestinian issue. How do you see that thanks coming from Israel in terms of who it gave it to, the EU?
I'm only laughing because of the absurdity of Nobel, the inventor of dynamite, giving prizes. This isn't funny at all. These European nations are backing Israel, Zionist regime, right to the hilt. And every day, settlers are hurting and maiming and killing Palestinians. And so this is a great Nobel Peace Prize for the murder, torture, and incarceration of Palestinians of all ages.
Author and journalist Afshin Rattansi, thank you so much there from London.